was heavy, carrying the scent of burning metal and dust from the planet's endless volcanic plains. The sky was a dull orange, always moving with slow storms of ash. It was a world that made men quiet, and Commander Ryan Holt had learned silence better than anyone. He stood on the observation deck of Outpost Kestrel, staring at the black ridges far away. He wore his armor not because he needed protection, but because it felt like a wall between him and his memories. Once years ago, Ryan had led a crew into a disaster, 20 soldiers gone in seconds. Only he had survived, and every breath since then had felt borrowed. Ryan believed he had lost the right to feel fear, and maybe the right to feel anything at all. Inside the command center, his officers moved carefully around him. Everyone knew the commander did not talk much. He didn't laugh. He didn't share stories like other soldiers did. His eyes were always distant, as if part of him was still trapped in the fire that had taken his crew. Then the silence broke. "Commander," said Lieutenant Sarah Cade, her voice steady but uncertain, "we're picking up something on long-range sensors. A signal from Sector D-17. It's strange." Ryan turned. "What kind of strange?" "It's not human," she said. "And it's not Zephyrian military either. It's pulsing, like a heartbeat." The word Zephyrian made the room tense. The Zephyrians, beings made of living plasma, had been humanity's most confusing enemy for years. They looked like fire given shape, could melt steel with a touch, and yet they never seemed to act with hate. Still, humans feared them. Fear was safer than trying to understand. "Could be a trap," said one of the techs. Ryan didn't answer immediately. He just stared at the signals pattern on the display, a rhythm that seemed alive. "Prepare a scout team," he said finally. "I'll lead it myself." The team exchanged nervous glances, but no one argued. When Ryan made a decision, it was final. The surface of Aegis 9 was a nightmare. Black rock cracked under every step, and the air shimmered from the heat. The team moved carefully, each soldier sealed in a heat-resistant suit. They followed the signal's coordinates until they reached a canyon filled with thin rivers of glowing magma. "There's nothing here," one soldier muttered. "Just rocks and fire." Ryan raised his scanner again. The signal was stronger now, close, almost above them. He looked up. There, hanging over a cliff edge, was a sphere of light the size of a person. It shimmered like liquid fire, its surface moving like a flame trapped in glass. As they watched, the light shifted, and suddenly it took a shape, a human shape. "By the stars," Sarah whispered. The figure stepped forward, hovering just above the stone. She looked almost like a woman made of fire. Soft lines, glowing eyes, a flowing form of energy that pulsed gently. Her voice came like a wave of warmth inside their helmets, not spoken but felt. "Please, don't be afraid." Half the team raised their rifles. "Hold fire," Ryan ordered sharply. The being tilted her head, curious. You hear me?" she said, her light flickering brighter. "Most humans only scream." Ryan swallowed hard. "Who are you?" "Luma," she replied. "I was Zephyrian once, but no longer. I ran from the war." The soldiers shifted uneasily. "A deserter? An alien refugee?" None of it made sense. The Zephyrians weren't supposed to have emotions like humans did, yet this one spoke softly, almost sadly. "We're taking you in," Ryan said finally. "You'll come with us. No sudden moves. If that will make you feel safe," she said simply. "But be careful. The ground is—" Before she could finish, the canyon floor cracked. A violent tremor shook the rock, sending a wall of molten fire up from below. The ground gave way under Ryan's boots. He fell sliding down toward the lava river. "Commander," Sarah shouted. The heat grew unbearable, the world turning red and blinding. Ryan tried to grab the edge, but his gloves slipped on the stone. For a moment he thought it was over, just like before. Another fall, another fire, another failure. Then something grabbed him. It wasn't metal or human hands. It was heat. Gentle but strong. A burning arm of light wrapped around him and pulled him upward. He felt his armor temperature spike. Alarm screaming in his helmet, but he didn't let go. He couldn't. When his vision cleared, he saw her, Luma, holding him above the molten pit, her body glowing brighter from the strain. "You'll burn." He gasped. "Then I burn," she said. "But you must not fall again." With one last push, she lifted him back onto the ledge and collapsed beside him, her light dimming for a moment. The team rushed forward, aiming weapons at her, but Ryan raised his hand. "Lower your guns," he said quietly. "Sir, she's dangerous. She saved my life," he interrupted. His voice carried something new. Not command, not fear, but gratitude. Luma's eyes flickered softly. "You don't have to thank me," she said. "I only did what was right." Rian looked at her closely. There was no hatred in her glow, no aggression, just warmth. A strange warmth that he had not felt in years. Back at the outpost, the crew sealed Luma in an energy chamber, a transparent field that allowed her to exist without melting the walls. Scientists and officers argued about what to do. Command wanted her studied, maybe destroyed, but Rian refused to hand her over right away. He visited her every night. At first, he stood at a distance. But as the days passed, he started talking, asking questions, listening. She told him about her people, how they felt emotions as heat, how fear turned them cold, and how love made them shine brighter. She said she had left the Zephyrian army because she couldn't understand why beings who glowed with life needed to destroy. "You humans fear everything that burns," she said one night, "but you are made of the same fire. You only forgot how to see it." Ryan didn't answer. He just watched her light dance against the glass, remembering the fire that had taken his crew, and realizing painfully that it wasn't the flames that haunted him. It was his own fear. He had been running from it ever since. Weeks later, the outpost scientists warned that keeping her was dangerous. "She's an energy risk," they said. "One wrong pulse and the base goes up in flames." Command demanded her transfer to Earth for dissection. Rian stood in silence, then turned to Luma's containment field. "Can you leave this place?" He asked. "If I do, your people will call me a weapon." He shook his head. "Then we'll find another way." "Why?" she asked softly. "Why risk yourself for me?" Rian looked away. "Because for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid." Her glow brightened, just a little. "Then maybe you are beginning to heal." That night, a storm swept across Aegis 9. Lava lightning flashed against the black sky, and the outpost shook under the tremors. Ryan couldn't sleep. He stood by the window, watching the red horizon burn. For years, the fire outside had been a mirror of his fear. Wild, untamed, destructive. But now, when he looked at it, he saw something different. Something alive. He realized that the fire had never been his enemy. Fear had been. And somewhere in the storm, behind glass walls and flickering light, was the being who had burned that fear away. Not with anger, but with warmth. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Command might come for her. The war might resume. But at that moment, on a distant world of ash and heat, Ryan felt the smallest ember of hope. And in that ember, love was waiting to be born. They rolled like living beasts across the planet's surface, growling with thunder and flashing with red lightning. But inside Outpost Kestrel, the silence was heavier than any storm outside. Soldiers whispered. Scientists argued. And in the center of the base, hidden behind reinforced glass, the alien named Luma waited, glowing softly in her chamber. Commander Rian Holt stood outside that chamber again. He had been coming there every night since the rescue. Sometimes he brought questions. Sometimes he just stood there saying nothing at all. Tonight he asked her quietly, "Do you ever get tired of being light?" Luma tilted her head. Her form shimmered like a candle in a gentle wind. "Light cannot get tired," she said softly, "but it can fade when it is alone too long." Rian looked down. "I know that feeling," he muttered. Her glow brightened a little. "You do not look like someone who should be afraid of the dark." He smiled weakly. "I used to think that too." The scientist's doubt in the days that followed, Rian noticed that people were changing around him. The soldiers who once stared at Luma with fear began to whisper less. Some even seemed curious, but others remained cold, especially Dr. Arden, the station's head scientist. "She's a danger, Commander," Arden said one morning, standing in the control room. "Her energy readings are unstable. She could melt half the base if she loses control." Ryan crossed his arms. "And yet she hasn't. She saved my life." "That doesn't make her safe," Arden replied sharply. "We don't understand her species." "You're letting emotion cloud your judgment." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Emotion's the reason we're human, Doctor. Maybe you should remember that." The scientist left angry, but he wasn't wrong. The higher command on Earth Central had already sent a message. They were dispatching a special officer to evaluate the outpost. Someone with authority to decide what would happen to Luma. The arrival of Admiral Vale 3 days later, a black shuttle descended from orbit. From it stepped Admiral Cora Vale, tall, cold-eyed, her uniform perfect and her tone sharper than steel. She had the kind of presence that made soldiers stand straighter just by walking past. "Commander Holt," she greeted, shaking his hand. "You've been busy ignoring orders, Admiral," he said evenly. "Welcome to Aegis 9. She glanced around the dull metal corridors, unimpressed. Not much of a welcome, but then again, this place was never meant to be comfortable. It's a wall, not a home. And you've brought the fire inside your own walls." She was talking about Luma, of course. Ryan didn't reply. Vale met with the scientists, reviewed the reports, and finally asked to see the alien herself. When she entered the containment chamber, her expression didn't change at all. Luma's glow reflected faintly on her pale skin, but Vale only stared with the look of someone observing a weapon, not a person. "So," the Admiral said, folding her arms, "this is the creature that made our soldiers hesitate." "I am not a creature," Luma replied gently. "I am Luma," Vale frowned. "And I am not interested in polite conversation. You are a Zephyrian asset, potentially hostile, definitely unstable." "You fear what you do not understand," Luma said. "That fear will burn you from within." Vale turned to Ryan. "You've let it speak freely? To your people?" "She's not a threat," Ryan said firmly. "She wants peace." "Peace?" The Admiral laughed once, coldly. "There's no peace in war zones, Commander. Only survival. And anything that glows like that could destroy us." When Vale left, Ryan could feel the chill she left behind. She had already made her decision. The warmth of understanding that night, Ryan visited Luma again. The alarms were quiet. The wind outside moaned like an old memory. "She wants to destroy you," he said softly. "To send you back to Earth for experiments." Luma's light dimmed. "Humans fear what they can't control. They always have." Ryan sighed. "She thinks you're a weapon." "Maybe I am," Luma admitted. "I can destroy, yes, but I can also heal. Fire can burn or warm. It depends on the heart behind it." Ryan looked at her for a long time. "When I first came here, I didn't believe hearts mattered anymore," he said. "I just followed orders. I thought fear kept me safe, and now?" she asked. "Now?" he said quietly. "I'm afraid of losing the only thing that's made me feel alive again." Luma's glow flickered, soft and golden. "Ryan Holt," she whispered inside his mind. "Your fear once froze you. But love is another kind of fire. Let it burn." For a moment he thought he saw her smile, just a faint curve in the light. The betrayal. The next morning the alarm screamed. The base shook as energy pulses flared through the walls. Ryan rushed to the control deck. "Report!" Dr. Arden met him there, pale and trembling. The Admiral ordered a containment override. "She's taking the alien now." "What?" Ryan shouted. "You can't. She'll die if you pull her out of the chamber too fast." "She doesn't care," Arden said. "She says the Council wants results." Ryan ran. He reached the lower labs just in time to see Admiral Vale standing beside Luma's glass cell. Soldiers surrounded her, weapons aimed. The energy field around Luma was flickering dangerously. Sparks of heat danced across the floor. "Stop this," Ryan shouted. "You'll overload the system." Vale turned slowly. "Stand down, Commander." "This isn't your decision anymore," Ryan stepped forward. "Then you'll have to shoot me." Her expression didn't change. "I might." Behind her, Luma's voice came, strained but calm. "Please, Ryan, let it go. Fear is guiding her now. Don't become the same." "I won't," he said softly. "But I won't let them hurt you." Vale raised a hand. "Enough fire!" The command never finished. The lights exploded in white. Luma's containment shattered, a wave of heat bursting through the room. Soldiers flew back. Alarms wailed, and Ryan covered his face as blinding fire filled the air. Through the chaos, he saw Luma, glowing brighter than ever, her body flickering like a dying sun. She looked at Ryan one last time and whispered across his thoughts, "Don't fear the fire. Ryan, become it." Then she threw herself forward, between Ryan and the Admiral, and absorbed the plasma blast from the soldiers' weapons. The energy struck her full force. Her body flared like a star being born, then collapsed into a shower of light. "Luma!" Ryan screamed. When the brightness faded, she was gone. Only a small sphere of soft, glowing energy floated where she had been. The ashes of love. The room was silent except for the alarms. Smoke curled through the air. Vale stood frozen, her face pale. What did she do? Ryan stepped forward, ignoring the pain in his chest. He reached out and caught the small sphere in his hands. It pulsed weakly, like a heartbeat fading. She saved you, he said hoarsely. Saved all of us? Vale didn't respond. She turned and walked away without a word, her boots echoing on the steel floor. Ryan stayed where he was, staring at the small light in his palms. It was warm, not burning, just gentle, almost like her touch. Sarah entered quietly behind him. Sir, what now? He looked up at her, eyes red from smoke and grief. Now, he said, we find a way to bring her back. Sarah hesitated. But she's not gone, Ryan said firmly. She's still here. I can feel her. He held the glowing sphere close to his chest. The warmth spread through him, calming the fear in his heart. Outside, the storms of Aegis 9 raged as always. But to Ryan, for the first time, they didn't sound angry. They sounded alive. He whispered to the light. You burned my fear away, Luma. I won't let your flame die. The sphere pulsed faintly in answer, as if hearing him. The world of Aegis 9 burned around them, but Commander Rian Holt felt a calm inside that no storm could touch. He held the small glowing sphere in his hands, the remnant of Luma, the Zephyrian who had saved him, who had changed him. The sphere pulsed softly, like a heartbeat trying to speak. To anyone else, it might have seemed fragile. To Ryan, it was the most alive thing he had ever held. Sir? Lieutenant Sarah Cade's voice came from behind him. Admiral Vale has sent more troops. They want the alien. And you. They're ready to destroy the outpost if you resist. Ryan did not flinch. He looked at the horizon where lava rivers burned bright red and orange, the sky streaked with lightning. Let them come, he said quietly. She gave me something no order, no soldier, no fear can ever take away. I won't let it die. Sarah hesitated. Sir, what do you mean? He lifted the sphere gently. Luma isn't just a life form. She's a chance. For us. For humanity. Fear kept us small. Love. Love can make us more. No. The journey. To the core, the team had only one option. Move the energy sphere to the planet's core. According to Luma's instructions, the natural energy network beneath Aegis 9 could stabilize her form and even allow her to regain physical presence. The journey was perilous. Ryan and Sarah led a small group through lava fields and collapsed tunnels. Every step was a battle against the planet itself. Fissures opened suddenly, molten rock hissed, and the air shimmered with deadly heat. At one point, the ceiling of a tunnel collapsed. Sarah screamed as rocks fell around them, but Ryan pushed the glowing sphere forward, creating a shield of warmth that held the worst of the heat at bay. He felt Luma's pulse grow stronger, brighter, responding to his determination. She's guiding us, Sarah said, awe in her voice. I've never seen anything like this. Ryan didn't answer. He only kept moving. Every step was a promise. He would not fail her again. 2. Admiral Vale's last stand. As they neared the planetary core, the ground shook violently. From above, Vale's forces descended in hovercrafts, armed with plasma disruptors. Commander Holt! Vale shouted through the storm. Stop this. Madness. That alien is dangerous. Give it to us. Ryan stepped forward, the glowing sphere held close to his chest. She is not a weapon, he yelled. She is life, and you have no right to destroy that life. Vale's eyes narrowed. And you are willing to die for it? Ryan met her gaze. I am willing to live for it, and for what it can teach us. Without warning, the first plasma disruptor fired. The shot hit the ground near Ryan, sending molten rock flying, but the sphere expanded, sending a wave of protective energy around them. The soldiers were forced back, and the disruptor fizzled out in the light of Luma's energy. Sarah gasped. It's like she's defending us. Ryan nodded, feeling the warmth spread through him. Fear had no place here anymore, only love, and courage born of it. The heart of the planet. Finally, they reached a massive cavern, the planetary core, exposed in molten rivers of energy. The walls pulsed with the planet's own life, an intricate web of light beneath the rock. Rian knelt in the center and held the sphere high. "This is it, Luma. The place you showed me." The sphere pulsed brighter, spinning gently in his hands. Luma's voice echoed in his mind. "Release me, Ryan. Let our fire mix. Let love guide it." He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and opened his hands. The sphere rose, hovering above the molten ground. Slowly it began to dissolve, sending arcs of soft, golden energy into the planet's core. The light spread, weaving into the natural energy channels, turning them from harsh, unstable flows into harmonized streams of warmth. Rian watched in awe. The entire cavern glowed with a mixture of human and Zephyrian energy, a living symbol of unity. His heart felt as if it would burst. Fear, sorrow, and grief melted away. In its place burned a pure, quiet warmth, the first love he had allowed himself to feel in years. Outside, the planet began to stabilize. Lava rivers calmed, storms lessened. Even the red sky softened to gold, reflecting the balance restored below. Humanity witnesses the change from orbit. Earth Command watched in disbelief. Satellites recorded the glow rising from Aegis 9, a sign that something miraculous had happened. Humans, long dominated by fear and caution, saw something new, a force that combined intelligence, emotion, and courage, the very essence of humanity's potential. Admiral Vale was silent. She had watched Ryan defy orders, refuse authority, and protect an alien she barely understood. She saw that humanity's strength was not just in weapons or discipline, it was in the heart, in the choice to act with courage, in the love that could melt fear. Rian turned to Sarah, a small smile breaking through his dirt-streaked face. "We did it," he said. "She did it." Sarah nodded, still in awe. "The universe. It's different now. Because of her." Ryan looked back at the glowing streams of energy winding through the cavern. Because of her, he thought. She had taught him to live again. To hope. To love. The reunion, the golden sphere, had fully dissolved into the planetary energy network. But Rian could feel her presence everywhere. A pulse of warmth followed him as he moved, a gentle vibration in his chest and mind. Then, slowly, the energy began to coalesce again. This time it was more than just light. Luma reformed, her humanoid shape shining bright and stable, glowing with life and peace. She stepped forward, her eyes meeting Ryan's. "You came," she whispered. "I promised," Ryan said, voice full of emotion. "I promised I would not let you fade away." Her glow softened, surrounding them both. "And now, you are free from fear," she said. "Not because I burned it away, but because you allowed love to fill its place." Ryan reached for her hand. Their fingers didn't just touch, they sparkled, energy and warmth intertwining. For the first time in decades, he felt whole. The new dawn days later, Aegis 9 was no longer just a volcanic wasteland. The energy that Luma had woven into, the planet healed its core, creating stable weather patterns, fertile soil, and life-sustaining warmth. Human engineers arrived to study it, not to control it, but to learn. Rian and Luma stood together, watching the horizon. Soldiers no longer stared with fear. Scientists no longer whispered with doubt. They had witnessed something incredible. The proof that humanity's greatest power wasn't technology or weapons or fear. It was the ability to love, to understand, and to unite even with the unknown. Luma looked at him, her glow reflecting in his eyes. "You are human, Ryan Holt," she said softly. "And that is why you shine brighter than any fire I have ever known." Ryan smiled. "And you, Luma, are the reason I remembered how to feel." Together they looked out over the transformed world. Light danced across the mountains, rivers glimmered like molten gold, and for the first time in years, Ryan felt truly alive. The fear that had haunted him was gone, replaced with something far stronger: love, courage, and hope. In that moment, humanity itself seemed to breathe with him, a species capable of greatness when it let its heart lead the way. And somewhere, Deep inside the glowing heart of Aegis 9, Luma pulsed gently, a living reminder that love could burn away fear, leaving only light.